So you're trying to level up your free-to-play account. That's where I come in. I'm going to help you. I'm going to walk you through the things that you need to do to level up your account. We're going to get some quests done. We're going to make some money, and we're going to get some skills leveled up. If you're new here, hi, my name is Joss, and this is my series on teaching you how to have a successful old school RuneScape free-to-play account. I'm sure at this point you're probably just feeling a little bit overwhelmed on what to do next. So in this day one guide, what we're going to do is we're going to complete 4 quests. We're going to do Cook's Assistant, the Restless Ghost, Rune Mysteries, and the Shearer quest. Now with those unlock a lot of very good day one skills to have. From Cook's Assistant, we'll get some good quick cooking XP. From the Restless Ghost, we'll get quick prayer XP. From the Rune Mysteries quest, we'll unlock rune crafting. And then from the Shearer quest, you'll get some easy crafting XP and a little bit of cash. By the end of day one, I'm wanting to accomplish having at least 10,000 GP, around 15 to 20 combat, all 4 of those quests completed, some basic skills being started, and I'm also going to show you around the GE and just a little bit more around Lumbridge and some of the areas that we'll access within the quests. If you're new here, hi, my name is Joss, and this is my series about leveling up a free-to-play account because it's absolutely possible and you don't need membership. I'm classifying this video as day 1 because day 0 was kind of just getting through Tutorial Island and just getting the account set up and creating a character that you're happy with. My goals for you are to have at least 10k GP, around 15 to 20 combat. We're going to complete 4 quests. We're going to start some basic skills, and I'm also going to show you around the GE to get a better understanding of how you can utilize that in the future. First, we're going to be knocking out Cook's Assistant, then we're going to go on the Restless Ghost, then Rune Mysteries, and then last we're going to do the Shearer quest. For early combat, I'm primarily going to be focusing on killing chickens and cows. With the chickens, I'm going to be keeping all of their feathers to use later on, and for the cows, I'm going to be keeping the cow hides so that I can tan them and sell them later on for money, and then also burying the bones from them because that gives you some prayer XP. So you're kind of training multiple skills at once. I do also have a general goal of getting between 10 to 15 fire making, wood cutting, and around 10 fishing and cooking. So we're going to chop some trees, we're going to burn the logs, and then we're going to cook the fish that we capture on those little bonfires that we're making. It does take some time, but if you think about it, you are training like 4 skills at once. You got wood cutting, fire making, fishing, and cooking. It's just you're training them all, so it's not going to go as quickly. And without further ado, let's get started. When it comes to the client that you're playing RuneScape on, you totally don't have to use RuneLite. This is just what I use. It's worked for me for so many years. Even before it was technically like Jagex approved, I used it. It has so many, hundreds of thousands of plugins that can just make your life so much easier. For example, the quest helper that we're using throughout this entire video series. I will be referencing this almost every single video probably, whether it's looking at what I have in my inventory, how many kills I have of something, looking up myself on the high scores. There's just so much information that RuneLite can give you, and I totally stand by this product. It's free. It's just another way that you can play RuneScape that just, it's kind of like a quality of life thing for me, I would say. It's super beneficial, so use it, don't use it. That's just what I recommend. All right, welcome back to Lumbridge. What we're going to do first is bank almost all of our items with exception of our axe, tinderbox, and a weapon. So if you haven't been to a bank yet, we're just going to go up to the 3rd floor in the Lumbridge Castle, which is right here, and you're going to click on the bank booth. Once you click on the bank, you'll see a couple of these icons. I'm just going to quickly explain kind of what they're all for. With this button right here, if you drag any stack of item, it will just destroy whatever you're putting in there. This button right here, enable swap or enable insert, you can click interchangeably between them. Swap will exchange the place of 2 items, whereas insert will place an item in a brand new spot. Now I'm going to have to give you a little bit of a background on this enable or disable notes button if you haven't played RuneScape in the past. So basically your inventory, backpack, whatever you want to call it, this square that's right here that's holding all of your items, you have a total of 28 inventory spots. Let's say a quest requires you to bring, and this isn't the case all the time, it's only the case some of the time, but let's say you're doing something where you need 60 shrimp and I have 60 shrimp in my bank, But obviously I can't have 60 shrimp in my backpack or inventory because there's only 28 spots. As long as I don't need to eat any of the shrimp or give them away like one by one, what you can do is you can click on this enable notes button and it will allow you to take out all 60 of those shrimp in a little note. So it actually only takes up one inventory spot in your backpack instead of filling your whole entire inventory worth of 28 shrimp. And then you have to go back to the bank, get another 28 shrimp, back to the bank, get another 28 shrimp. So I'm going to give you a couple examples here. If you note food, you cannot eat that food. You can't cook that food. You can't do anything with that food. If you have weapons, you cannot wield those weapons. You can't use them for anything. You will only have the option to drop them. You can't unnote them once they're already in your inventory or your backpack. So you want to make sure that you're really only using the noted button when you need to and not all the time. The next couple buttons are talking about your left click. So for example, right here, you can see that we have 25 coins and the default quantity is selected as 1. If I hover over the coins, it just says withdraw 1 coin. If I change this to 10, then it defaults to withdraw 10 coins. So that means that my left click, anytime I left click, it's always going to take out 10 coins. You can also change it to any number you want. I guess not too big of a number, but essentially any number you want. So if you wanted to make sure you were always withdrawing 1,000 of something, you will always withdraw that first 1,000 and then the remainder will be in your bank. So for example, with arrows stack in your inventory, runes stack in your inventory, but things like weapons, random items, shrimp, food, anything else doesn't stack, so you only take out 1. So if you were to just click on this a million times, you're taking out 10 every single time, whereas you could only be taking out 1, or you can just say you want to withdraw all of them and then it will just withdraw a stack of everything, or however many until your inventory is full. Later in the game, when you have a lot more items, sometimes it's easier to just search for a rune, for example, and then it'll show you all of the items that contain the name rune. In my bank right now, I don't have any, so it's not going to show me any. This next button is a lock. So it will always set a placeholder even if you withdraw to 0. So with this button unclicked, if I were to withdraw all of my coins, there's not a placeholder that's left over so that it'll just go back into that exact spot and not just any random place in the inventory. Now, if I click this and then also do the same thing, withdraw all of my coins, you can see now there's a placeholder. Even though I don't have any more in my bank, there's still a placeholder, so whenever I get more of that item, I don't have to worry about it going to a new spot. It'll just always go right there. I like to have that on just because it keeps things a little bit more organized, in my opinion. This empty containers button isn't something we'll be using very early on in the game. Basically what it means is anytime you have a bag or a pouch in your inventory or your backpack, you can just click this button and those pouches or bags will stay in your inventory here, but all of the contents will come out and be deposited into your bank. This deposit inventory will basically just take every single item that's in your inventory and it will just deposit it back into your bank. Even if the items have never been there before, I'm going to click it just so you can see what it looks like. So it takes all of my items. Now I have a completely empty inventory and I have everything else in my bank. This deposit worn items, if I was wearing any kind of clothing or armor, this button just takes everything off and it will also do the same thing, just deposit it all into your bank. That covers most of the organizational buttons down here. Now, if you click on this button right here, it says show worn items. It would show you any item that your player is wearing along with any of its stats, whether it gives an attack, defense, or other bonus, or if you have a target specific bonus or a weapon speed. It also shows you how much your player weighs. This is something I don't think I mentioned in the first video when we were on Tutorial Island, but the heavier your player is, the quicker they will run out of run when you are using run. So if you weigh 0 kilograms, you're going to be able to get the furthest and the most out of your run, which was this little guy up in the corner, the little boot that's on the side of your mini map. The heavier you are, the quicker you're going to run out of it because your player is using more energy. Now, agility is something that you can train up to kind of combat that a little bit, but you're never going to see a point where you're wearing your absolute heaviest armor and you're just not losing any run at all. That's typically never going to happen. So to get back to the bank, I'm just going to click on this show worn items button again. Now, the last thing that I think is worth noting are these tabs up at the top here. So to just stay a little bit more organized, I totally recommend having your items as you get more items and you can actually categorize them together. I recommend putting them in their own tabs so that your main tab that just has everything in it doesn't get too cluttered, I guess. And honestly, I just think the more items you have in its own specific tab, the better you kind of know what all is in your bank. For example, with these runes, I'll have like a magic tab, and then that magic tab will have all of my magic armor. It'll have runes, it'll have staves, it'll have anything else that I need. Range, we'll have our bows, we'll have our arrows, we'll have our ranged armor, and then I'll have a melee one. I'll have all my weapons, my armor, anything else that I would need for melee attacking. And then I'll have like my skilling tab, so that'll have stuff for fishing, stuff for cooking, stuff for fire making, wood cutting, any additional accessories that I would need for that stuff. And as we're rounding out, we have 2 more tabs that I'd like to go over. You have this new tag tab. So kind of similar to what I was saying with the other tabs, but for tags, what you can do is if you have multiple weapons, for example, and you want them all to kind of be categorized under their own tag, you can add a tag right here and then it'll tag specific items. Any of the new tabs that you make up here will be listed horizontally. If you wanted a tag tab, then you could add a name right here, and then you have tag tabs that would go vertically. But essentially, it's basically the same thing. It just organizes your items just in a different way. And then lastly, you have the scroll up and scroll down buttons. Those are also associated with the new tag tab. If you have enough to create a scroll, then you'll be able to just scroll up and down between them. I hope you're ready to start your first quest because we are about to do Cook's Assistant. I am using RuneLite, so I'll be using the quest helper on the side of RuneLite to walk me through everything. And I'm so sorry I'm moving my camera every single which way, but I think I finally found a spot for it to go. So for Cook's Assistant, we need 3 items that are all attainable during the quest. We'll need an egg, a pot of flour, and a bucket of milk. The quest also recommends having 3 coins, so I've got those in my inventory. And I'm just gonna follow this blue arrow. So I know that I need to go downstairs already. I'm just gonna go to the bottom floor. So I'm on the bottom floor and I'm going to follow the blue arrow that my quest guide is pointing me to. I'm not starting the quest yet. It looks like I'm going to be purchasing a bucket and a pot from the Lumbridge General Store because I'll need those during the quest. So that's what the 3 coins are for. I'm going to talk to the shopkeeper. Actually, I'm just going to, so just ask him what he's selling. And I love the quest helper so much because it truly does help you a lot. So I'm going to buy a bucket and then it's going to highlight the next thing for a pot. So I have the bucket and the pot in my inventory and the quest helper is now wanting me to go grab an egg from the farm north of Lumbridge. So if I click on my map, I can see a little bit better of where exactly this arrow is pointing me. The quest helper will basically put like a pinpoint in your map of like where exactly you're going. So I know that when it says the farm north of Lumbridge, I know that this is where I'm going. Here is the egg. The egg is also highlighted for me. So the next thing I'm going to do is get the flour. It's going to have me pick some wheat north of Lumbridge. And I can see that my arrow is pointing up this way. I guess I just need 1. And I just clicked on this gate to open it because you can't just walk through. So pick some wheat. Cool. The next step is to climb up the ladder in the mill north of Lumbridge to the top floor. I'm going to open the doors and click on the highlighted ladder. Click it again, climb up the ladder, and then it says fill hopper. So I'm going to take the grain that I have, right click on the hopper, put my grain in, and then click the hopper controls, and then go back downstairs, and then climb down the ladder in the mill to the ground floor and collect my flour. And it's automatically going to put the flour in my pot because I don't have anywhere else for it to go. So next I'm going to get the milk, and looks like I can just go to one of these dairy cows just north of me. So I'm going to click and open the gate, and it just gives me the option to milk the cow. So I've already got the bucket in my inventory, and that's the only other empty spot that it can go. So I have now successfully milked the cow, and now we have all of the ingredients, and we're ready to go start and very quickly finish this quest. So I'm going to run back to Lumbridge now. I'm just following this blue arrow, and it has us running all the way back to the ground floor in the Lumbridge Castle. If I want to, this is also a really cool tip. You can right click on a place that you want to go, and it'll highlight it on the ground for you. As the quickest path to get there. It's telling me to Lumbridge home teleport, but I don't really want to use my teleport right now. Okay, so we're back in the Lumbridge Castle, and I'm going to talk to the cook that's in here. You can kind of see he's like highlighted in blue. That's how I know that he's the person I have to talk to. And I'm just going to scroll through these dialogue options. And then I'm going to get a prompt asking me if I would like to start the cook's assistant quest, and I'm saying yes. I will help you. He says thank you, and then tells me everything he needs, and then I say that I have the ingredients already on me, and he says it's an odd coincidence. Crazy, I know. You hand over all of the ingredients, and then he says thank you, and you ask if you get an invite to the party, and he says no. Only big cheeses get to dine with him. And just like that, we have completed Cook's Assistant. We have received 1 quest point and 300 cooking XP. So congratulations! That 300 cooking XP got me to level 4 cooking. So that's why it's so nice knocking out some of these quests earlier in the game, because you're such a low level that you can level up so quickly just by getting even 300 XP from a quest. And I literally didn't even have, I did have to do something, but I didn't have to like sit in front of a range and cook. I will also say this does give you access to this cooking range. It's not going to be helpful right now in this second, but just a little tidbit, it does give you access to this. All right, y'all, who's ready for the next quest? We are going to do the Restless Ghost quest. If you're following along in the RuneLite quest helper, you'll notice that there are no required items, only recommended items. So you don't have to worry about having 2 Lumbridge teleports, and you also don't have to worry about having the Necklace of Passage. Neither of them are needed. They'll just make your life a little bit easier. But when we are playing this game as a free-to-play player that's extremely broke right now, we aren't getting either of those. For this quest, we do have to defeat a level 13 skeleton that you can run away from. I'm probably just going to go to the bank and bring, I don't know, a sword or something. But for the reward portion, you get 1 quest point, some prayer XP, and also a Ghost Speak amulet. That will be quite helpful for you later on in the game as well. So I'm on the top floor. I'm just going to get something to kill that skeleton a little bit easier because I don't want to be sitting here punching him with my fists. So I'm just going to bring my bronze sword and my wooden shield. And go back downstairs. And the first step tells me to talk to Brother Eric in the Lumbridge Church. The Lumbridge Church is just east of the castle. So just following my quest helper. Here we go. Father Eric's right here. And I'm just going to go through the dialogue options. RuneLite also tells you the dialogue option you have to select to best get you through the quests even quicker. So I'm telling him that I'm looking for a quest. He says, that's lucky. I needed someone to do a quest for me. It says, before starting this quest, be aware that your combat level is lower than the recommended level of 10. I'm going to accept that risk and start the quest. So he tells me, the problem is that there's a ghost in the church graveyard. I would like you to get rid of it. If you need any help, Father Yurney is an expert on ghosts. I believe he's currently living as a hermit in the Lumbridge swamp. He has a little shack in the far west of the swamp. Exit the graveyard through the south gate to reach the swamp. I'm sure if you told him that I sent you, he'd be willing to help. My name is Father Eric, by the way. Pleased to meet you. And I say likewise. He said, take care traveling through the swamps. I've heard they can be quite dangerous. Okay. So looking at my world map, it looks like the quest helper is highlighting this little shack right here. I'm going to right click and set my target so I know the quickest way to get there. And then just follow along the red brick road. Next step in the quest helper says that I'll be getting a ghost speak amulet. So I'm going to talk to Father Yurney in this shack right here, which is just west of the Lumbridge Swamp. He says, go away, I'm meditating. And I'm going to select option 2. Father Eric sent me to talk to you. He says, I suppose I'd better talk to you then. What problems has he gotten himself into this time? And you're going to select, he's got a ghost haunting his graveyard. Oh, this silly fool. I leave town for 5 months and already he can't manage. Well, I can't go back and exercise it. I vowed not to leave this place until I had done 2 years of prayer and I almost said medication. Meditation. Tell you what I can do though. Take this amulet. He hands it to you. He says it's an amulet of ghost speak, so called because when you wear it, you can speak to ghosts. A lot of ghosts are doomed to be ghosts because they have left some important tasks uncompleted. Maybe if you know what the task is, you can get rid of the ghost. I'm not making any guarantees, mind you, but this is the best that I can do right now. You say, thank you, I'll give it a try. So I'm going to wear my ghost speak amulet by just clicking on it in my inventory. And you can see now I've got it on my person. If I go to my equipment, you can also see that it's sitting right there. So the next step in the quest guide says talk to the ghost, open the coffin in the Lumbridge graveyard to spawn the ghost. And it looks like that's going to be right over here. So I'm going to set my target and it wants me to teleport. So I'm going to home teleport, which you can do from pretty much anywhere. But it does have a bit of a cooldown. I believe it's 15 or 30 minutes. I don't remember. But one of the two. Either way, once you use it, you cannot use it again. Unless you have the runes to teleport, you cannot use it again for 30 minutes. So next time I'll be running. But I'm going to now run down to the marker that I set. And it looks like someone has already opened the coffin and the Restless Ghost is already standing here. So I'm going to talk to him. If he wasn't standing here, you would just click open coffin and then he would just, see, just like that. Okay, so I'm going to click open the coffin and the ghost spawns. And I talk to him, asking him, how are you? He says, not very good. You're going to select, yep, now tell me what the problem is. And he says, wow, this is incredible. I didn't expect anyone to ever understand me again. You're explaining to him that you can understand him, but you're not sure what exactly he needs. He says, well, to be honest, I'm not sure. I've been told a certain task may need to be completed so you can rest in peace. And he says, I think it's probably because a warlock has come along and stolen my skull. If you look inside my coffin there, you'll find the corpse without a head on it. That's true. There is just a corpse in there. Did you know where the warlock might be now? He says, I think it was one of the warlocks who live in the big tower by the sea southwest from here. You say, okay, I'll try to get your skull back for you. Oh, he's so sad. It's been so dull being a ghost. Now, I have to go all the way to the Wizard's Tower, which is going to take us outside of Lumbridge for the first time, but it's going to be right here. I don't know if I'll have to go up or down the stairs. Looks like I'll be going down to the basement. So I'm going to set my marker to just run all the way there, and I will see you guys there in a minute. Now that we've arrived at the Wizard's Tower, I'm going to take the ladder to go downstairs and talk to... Sorry, not talking to anyone. I'm going to pray at the altar. So I'm just going to run all the way around. It says, enter the Wizard's Tower basement south of Draenor Village. I'm going to search the altar. So I'll search the altar and the skeleton will appear and attack you, but you can just run away. Okay, so I will just run away. I'll probably just run behind this so that it won't attack me. But I'll search that. Skeleton appears and I will just run this way. Oh, so yeah, you don't even have to attack it. Okay, so I'll just leave the basement now. Go back up the stairs. and then we're gonna run all the way back to where we just were in Lumbridge, to the ghost's coffin, since I have the skull now in my inventory. Okay, now I am back in Lumbridge. That felt like it took forever because I had no run. So I'm going to open the door and then search the coffin again. And a little cutscene appears in the water. Well, he has his head back now. You can even see in the little coffin. There's his head. And congratulations, you have just finished your second quest. Good job. I'm so proud of you. So with the Restless Ghost, like I mentioned earlier, we've got 1 quest point, a ton of prayer XP, and a Ghost Speak amulet. And that got my prayer up to level 9. So I went from level 1 to level 9 just from doing 1 quest. And if you didn't know, the highest a skill can get number-wise is 99. Your highest combat, though, when you get max melee skills, so that's 99 attack, strength, defense, hit points, range, magic, prayer, everything, the highest you can only get is 126. So that's the cap. Like I said, you can always continue to get even more and more XP, but level-wise, that is the highest. I mean, when you put that into perspective, though, I'm level 4. So I've definitely got a very long way to go, and the XP and leveling up just gets significantly longer the further on you go. That's why it is such a grindy game, but it's so worth it. It's so worth it. Y'all, we are halfway done with the quests that we wanted to complete. That's amazing. So the next one up is Rune Mysteries. Same thing as the Restless Ghost quest. We don't have any required items, only recommended items, and it's a Varrock teleport and a teleport to the Wizard's Tower. So we've already been to the Wizard's Tower in the last quest. We have not been to Varrock yet, so I will introduce you to one of my favorite cities in the game. I love Varrock. It's got a lot to do there. It's very fun and pretty. So we start off the quest by talking to Duke Horasho. Maybe that's how you pronounce that. On the first floor of the Lumbridge Castle. So you will also get a few cool rewards for finishing this quest. You'll get 1 quest point, an air talisman, and the ability to mine rune and pure essence. Rune crafting can help you with magic, it can help you with teleporting, it can help you with a ton of different things. So if you go to the magic tab right here, you hover over any of these. Obviously some of them are, you know, very, very far off. We're not going to be level 60 magic for a while. But you can see you have certain teleports. The ones that are available to use will be highlighted. And as you get more runes in your inventory, you'll see some more open up based on what you have the level for, where else you can teleport. So for example, once we reach level 25 magic, we can teleport to Varrock. So instead of having to run there like we're gonna have to do today, we can use the runes, teleport, and get there in 2 seconds. So it's nice to get higher levels of magic so that you can unlock those kinds of things. Now I am here to talk to the Duke. So now let's start this quest. So I just got up to the first, technically, I guess it's not really the first floor. Maybe it's the first floor. The second level of the Lumbridge Tower to find him and just talk to him. You're gonna ask him if he has any quests for you. And he said, well, I wouldn't describe it as really a quest, but he shows you a talisman. The Order of Wizards over at the Wizard's Tower have been on the hunt for magical artifacts recently. I wonder if this might be the kind of thing that they're after. Would you be willing to take it to them for me? You're going to say yes, and then you will start the Rune Mysteries quest. He says, thank you. You'll find the Wizard's Tower southwest of here, across the bridge from Draenor Village. When you arrive, look for Cedridor. He's the Archmage of the Wizard's Tower. So he hands you the talisman. And I'm going to go down 1 level just to show you guys exactly where we're going. Okay, so from here, this is where we're currently at. I'm gonna clear this target because that is not where I'm going. So down by the Wizard's Tower, like I mentioned, this is where we went for the Restless Ghost as well. I'm going to set my path there. And then once there, I'm going to talk to Cedrador in the Wizard's Tower basement. So I will see you there. He says, welcome, adventurer, to the world-renowned Wizard's Tower, home of the Order of the Wizards. We are the oldest and most prestigious group of wizards around. Now, how may I help you? And you ask him, are you Cedrador? And he says, Cedrador, what is it you want with him? And you say, the Duke of Lumbridge sent me to find him. I have the talisman that he found. He said Cedrador would be interested in it. He said, did he now? Well, hand it over then and we'll see what all the hubbub is about. And you click, okay, here you are, and you hand it over to him. He says, doesn't seem anything too special, just a normal air talisman by the looks of things. Still, looks can be deceiving, let me take a closer look. He murmurs some sort of incantation, and the talisman slightly glows. He says, how interesting. It would appear I spoke too soon. There's more to this talisman than meets the eye. In fact, it may well be the last piece of the puzzle. You say, puzzle? He says, indeed, the lost legacy of the first tower. This talisman may in fact be the key to finding the Forgotten Essence Mine. And you say, first tower, Forgotten Essence Mine? What are you on about? He says, my apologies, adventurer. Allow me to fill you in. And then you click go ahead. He says, as you're likely aware, when we cast spells, we do so using the power of runes. These runes are crafted from a highly unique material imbued with magical power and various runic altars. Different altars create different runes with different magical effects. The process of imbuing runes is called rune crafting. Legend has it that this was once common art, but the secrets of how to do it were lost until just under 2 years ago. 200 years ago. The rediscovery of rune crafting had such a large impact on the world that it marked the dawn of the Fifth Age. It also resulted in the birth of our order and the constitution of the first Wizard's Tower. You say, if it was the first tower, I'm guessing it doesn't exist anymore? What happened? He says, it was burnt down by traitorous members of our own order. They followed the evil god of chaos, Zamorak, and they wished to claim our magical discoveries in his name. When the tower burnt down, much was lost, including the important incantation, a spell that could be used to teleport to a hidden essence mine. You say, the essence mine you mentioned earlier, I assume? He says, precisely, rune essence is the material used to make the runes, but it's incredibly rare. That essence mine was the only place it could be found that our order knew of. Since the incantation was lost, we have struggled to maintain our stocks of rune essence. There are seemingly those out there that still know where to find some, but while they have been willing to sell essence to us, they've refused to share knowledge on how to find it ourselves. You say, I'm starting to see why it's so important. So you think the talisman can help rediscover that incantation? He says, I do. All magic leaves traces, and from what I can tell, the talisman was used heavily during the time of the first tower. It would have been taken to the essence mine many times, and the magical energies there will have left an imprint on it. To think it was hidden in Lumbridge all this time. You say, so what happens now? He says, it's critical that I share this discovery with my associate Aubrey as soon as possible. He's not much of a wizard, but he's an expert in runecrafting, and his insight will be essential. Will you be willing to visit him for me? I would go myself, but I wish to study this talisman some more. You say, yes, certainly. As if you had an option. He says, he runs a rune shop just southeast of Varrock. Please take this package of research notes to him. If all goes well, the secrets of the essence mine may soon be ours once more. He hands you a package. He says, best of luck. You say, I don't remember telling you my name. How do you know it? He says, really now? I'm an archmage, you know? Quick little tidbit. When you're underground, in a basement, in a dungeon, in a mine, wherever you are, if you click the world map, it'll show you a layout of what that floor looks like. And then you could go up to the Gilner surface just so you could like see everything else. But it does give you the option to go into any of these regardless of if you're actually there or not. So for the next part, we have to bring the research package to Aubrey in southeast Varrock. Varrock is this city up here. So it's just a little bit north of where we are now. We are in this Wizard's Tower down here. Lumbridge is right here. So that's the main city that we've been running around. And then Varrock is this huge city up here. I can see that the quest helper is highlighting this specific spot right here. So I am going to set a target to get there. and climb up the, oh, I need to open the door first. I'll climb up the ladder and then I will head that way, so I will see you there. All right, we have arrived to Aubrey. I'm going to talk to him and he says, do you want to buy some runes? I'm going to say, I've been sent here with a package for you. He says, a package from who? You say, from Cedrador at the Wizard's Tower. He says, from Cedrador, but surely he can't have. Please let me have it. It must be extremely important for him to have sent a stranger. You hand the package over. He says, now let's have a look. He goes through the package. He says, this is incredible. My gratitude for you, adventurer, for bringing me these research notes. Thanks to you, I think we finally have it. You mean the incantation? He says, well, when we combine my own research with the latest discovery, I think we just might. No, I'm getting ahead of myself. The signs are promising, but let's not jump to any conclusions just yet. Here, take these notes back to Cedrador. They should hopefully give him everything he needs. He hands you research notes. And he says, before you leave, why not have a cup of tea? And you say, I'd love a cup of tea, because why not? And now you have a cup of tea that you drank already. So now we have to run all the way back down to the Wizard's Tower. And it looks like the fastest way for me to get there, since my Lumbridge teleport has now reset itself, will be to teleport to Lumbridge, run through the castle, and then go back down to the Wizard's Tower. So I will see you guys there. All right, we are back downstairs of the Wizard's Tower, and I'm going to talk to the Archmage again. He asks how the quest is going and if I've delivered the research to Aubrey yet. I respond by saying, yes, I have. He gave me some notes to give you. He says, wonderful, let's take a look at them. You hand over the notes, and he says, all right, let's see. Yes, this is it, the lost incantation. And you say, so you'll be able to access the essence mine now? He says, that's right. Because of you, our order finally has a proper source of rune essence again. Thank you, friend. If you ever want to access the essence mine yourself, just let me know. It's the least I can do. I will also share the incantation with others, including Aubrey. When I do, I'll let them know that you are to be given unlimited access to the mine. Oh, and you can have this air talisman back as well. I have no further need of it, and I'm sure you'll find it useful. In case you didn't know, the talisman can be used to craft air runes. Just take it to the air altar south of Falador along with some rune essence. Don't worry if you can't find the altar, the talisman can guide you there. You may find talismans for other altars as well while adventuring. They'll let you craft other types of rune. You say, great, thanks. He says, my pleasure. And your third quest is done! Good job, good job. So you got your single quest point and air talisman, and you now have access to the rune essence mine. Are you ready? Last quest for day 1. We can do this. Okay, last quest is Shearer. You need 20 balls of wool and 1 shear. For this quest, it's a little bit interesting. So the way that I'm going to be completing it is creating the 20 balls of wool as I'm going through the quest. You do also have the option of just bringing him 20 balls of wool and then you just finish the quest right then and there. But this guide is meant for the first time RuneScape player that has never sheared a sheep before and created a ball of wool. So that's the point of this. That's what we're going to do. The rewards you'll get for this is 1 quest point, 150 crafting experience, and then 60 coins. You'll also learn how to make balls of wool, and I believe you get to keep the shears too. So win-win. I'm going to start off by talking to Fred the farmer. He says, what are you doing on my land? You're not the one who keeps opening my gates all day and letting out my sheep, are you? And you say, I'm looking for a quest. He says, you're after a quest, you say? Actually, I could do with a bit of help. My sheep are getting mighty woolly. I'd be much obliged if you could shear them, and while you're at it, spin the wool for me too. Yeah, that's it. Bring me 20 balls of wool, and I'm sure I could sort out some kind of payment. Of course, there's a small matter of the thing. You say, what do you mean, the thing? He says, well now, no one has ever seen the thing. That's why we call it the thing. because we don't know what it is. Some say it's a black-hearted shapeshifter, hungering for the souls of hardworking, decent folk like me. Others say it's just a sheep. Well, I don't have all day to stand around and gossip. Are you going to shear my sheep or what? You say yes, and you will start the sheep shearer quest. He says, good, now one more thing you can do. Do you actually know how to shear a sheep? And you say, no, I don't know actually. He said, well, first things first, you need some shears. I've got some here you can use. He gives you a set of shears. He says, you just need to go and use them on the sheep out in my field. You say, sounds easy. He said, that's what they all say. Some of the sheep don't like it too much. Persistence is the key. Once you've collected some wool, you can spin it into balls. Do you know how to spin wool? You say, I don't know how to spin wool. Sorry. He says, don't worry, it's quite simple. The nearest spinning wheel can be found on the first floor of the Lumbridge Castle. To get to the Lumbridge Castle, follow the road east. This icon denotes a spinning wheel on the world map. You say, thank you. Okay, so the way that you can get into his pen is if you climb over the stile right around here. And you literally just click on him. I guess, yeah, you don't want to attack the rams because then they'll attack you back. But now I have wool, so I'm just going to do this until I have 20 of them in my inventory, and then I'll teach you guys how to go spin them. I ended up shearing some more wool just so I could get a full inventory of it, because honestly, you use balls of wool quite frequently in this game, I would say, especially for questing. So I figured why not just get a full inventory. So I'm back at the Lumbridge Castle now, going up to the main floor, first floor, whatever they want to call it. And I'm going to go into this door right here, and that's going to open up the spinning wheel over here. I'm going to use my wool on the spinning wheel, and I'll get this pop-up right here that asks me how many I want to spin. I typically always have it defaulted to all because I think it's quite rare that I would be spinning wool and not doing everything in my inventory, just doing like 3. So I'm just going to leave it at all, and then I'm just going to click my spacebar and it'll just automatically go for me. So we'll see you on the other side. Okay, all of my balls of wool are finished. I'm going to go up in the staircase just so that I don't have to take all of them back to Fred. Because he only needs 20, so I'm just going to take out what he doesn't need. Now I'm going to race you back to Fred. So, ready, set, go. Aha, I beat you back. So now I'm going to talk to Fred the farmer again. He says, he's so mean. What are you doing on my land? Not even like a hello or anything. I'm going to click the first option of I need to talk to you about shearing the sheep. He says, oh, how are you doing getting those balls of wool? You say, I have some. He says, give them here. Oh, I took out 1 extra. That's crazy. Okay, congratulations. You have finished the last of the day 1 quests. This is going to set you up so well for the rest of your RuneScape account. You have a good amount of XP and a handful of different skills now. You've been able to explore a whole nother city, a whole nother area, little part of the map, and you also have some shears. So, congratulations. And you have a Ghost Peak amulet too, for that matter. So, you got a couple cool items. So from that, like I mentioned, you have your 1 quest point, 150 crafting XP, and 60 coins. That got us to level 3 crafting. You went from 1 to 3 with just 1 quest. So congratulations. I'm so proud of you. Since you stayed to the end of the video, I'm going to give you just a little bit more information to help make this smooth transition into free-to-play a little bit easier for you. So on the world map, this is where I'm at right now. I'm in the Grand Exchange. I'm in the city of Varrock in the upper northwest corner. There are also 2 teleports that can get you to this area. So you have the Varrock GE, which you can unlock at level 25. You also have just the regular Varrock teleport that you also unlock at level 25. 1 gets you specifically to the Grand Exchange. 1 just gets you to like the main city center of Varrock, I would say. But the Grand Exchange is where you can buy and sell items. You can access your bank. So for example, I'd like to access my bank account, please. Here's my bank. I got everything I need here. Now let's say I want to take my whopping 82 coins and I want to go buy some bread. So I'm going to talk to the Grand Exchange clerk over here. He says, welcome to the Grand Exchange. Would you like to trade now or exchange item sets? I'm going to say, just for the general overview, I'm going to say, how do I use the Grand Exchange? He says, my colleagues and I can set up trade offers. You can offer to sell and buy items. When you want to sell something, you give us the item and tell us how much money you want for them. We'll look for someone who wants to buy those items at your price and we'll perform the trade. You can then collect the cash here or at any bank. When you want to buy something, you tell us what you want, give us the cash you're willing to spend on it, and then we'll look for someone who's selling the items at your price and we'll perform the trade. You can collect the items here or at any bank along with any leftover cash. Sometimes it can take a while to find a matching trade offer. If you change your mind, we'll let you cancel your trade offer and we'll return your unused cash or items. That's all the essential information you need to get started. Would you like to trade now or exchange an item set? I'm going to say I'd like to set up trade offers, please. So this is the next screen that pops up. It gives me 3 offer slots that are all empty because I haven't purchased or traded anything yet. The left box in all of these is going to be your buying items. And the right is going to be the selling item. So I don't have any items that I'm selling right now. I'm going to be buying an item. So when you click on offer to buy items, you're going to see this next screen. You're going to choose an item. And to do that, you do have to know at least the name of the item you're looking for. So let's say I was looking for a bronze arrow. I'm going to type in bronze and it starts showing me anything that I could buy that has the word bronze in it. Bronze arrows right here, for example. Let's say I wanted a rune item. I type in rune. It shows me all of these different types of actual runes that I could buy. It also shows me rune armor or rune weapons that I could buy. And you just kind of pick one and then, like you said, you offer your price. They try to find someone who's selling it at that same price. And then if there's already someone selling it at that price, then it'll just come through automatically. If not, like he said, sometimes you gotta wait. Sometimes you gotta offer more money. Sometimes you gotta offer less money if you're trying to sell something for a profit. Sometimes, you know, it really just depends. So just for the name of the game, let's say I was trying to buy some bread. So I click on bread. It gives me a description of the item, a buy limit, and the actively traded price. This says it's actively traded for 98 GP. I think this is suggesting to buy it for 94. So it's price per item versus the quantity. So let's say I wanted 1,000 pieces of bread. That would cost me 94,000 coins. Or let's say I want to take this down to just 3. So if I needed 3 pieces of bread, it would cost me 282 coins. If you're wanting something to come through very quickly, you can typically spend more on the item and you can get it almost instantly. You could try to lowball people. I can't say it'll work or not. I'm not actually going to go through with this transaction because I don't need bread and I barely have any coins, so I need to save what I have. But if this were the case, you would click confirm. If the transaction went through instantly, you would see some bread right here. You would click it and then it would show up in your inventory. If the bread was not available yet for the price that you were trying to buy it for, then there would kind of just be a loading bar that would just be empty. So it basically shows that the Grand Exchange clerks are trying to find someone who's willing to sell it for the price that you're wanting to buy it for. Same thing with selling an item. For example, I just put this bow in my inventory, but let's say that I wanted to sell my bow. You have to have it in your inventory and you click on it. It automatically goes into the offer window, gives you a description of the item, actively traded price, and then the convenience fee for having them sell your item. So most of the time, if you're selling something that you don't think a lot of people will end up buying and you're okay taking a hit on, you can just minus this 5% a couple times, until you get to 0 and you just want to sell it for free. So that's how you buy and sell items at the GE. I hope that was helpful to you. Now you know a little bit more information on it. Honestly, on a normal account, you will probably see yourself here quite often. But either way, it's a really good thing to know about. It's great to learn how to use it. You can talk to any of these people around, not this person or those people, but any of these NPCs that are around. You can talk to them and just get a little bit more information. But with that being said, we have finished the questing portion of day 1. I realized I'm going to have to make a part 2 with all of the actual skilling stuff and money making methods that I was going to talk about, because I am not going to have enough time in this short video. I'm going to save you the headache of not having to sit and watch a 2-hour long video. And I'm just going to make a part 2, so come back for that. Be on the lookout for day 1, part 2 of this video, where you will see skilling, money making methods, and we will reach the rest of the goals that we were originally trying to get at in the beginning of the video. But you've got some quests done, you have a little bit more knowledge under your belt, so I hope this helps, and I will see you guys next time. If you're enjoying this series, I would so much appreciate it if you subscribed, drop a like, and comment what your favorite quest was from today. Bye! Oh my god, that was about to be disastrous. Oh, 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 oh.